Hi guys, it's Lara. Thanks for watching and welcome back to my channel. So here we go. I'm doing something I actually never thought I would ever do on my channel, which is responding to someone else's video. But if you're looking for some kind of drama, I have to disappoint you because I have nothing but positive things to say about Kristen Leo. I think she's amazing. She's a young YouTuber from Greece. She's covering usually ethical fashion and sustainable living, talking about veganism. I find her videos very informative. I learned quite a lot from some of her videos, and she's always putting a lot of effort into research and editing. Amazing YouTuber. Her channel is linked down below, and of course also the video to which I'm responding today. So her video pretty resonated with me so much. She discussed several things that I found very important to talk about, so I have decided to film some kind of a response video so that I could bring the discussion over to my channel, and that's what this is going to be about. So I'm going to summarize the points that she discussed, and then I'm kind of going to discuss it from my point of view and maybe add a few things to it. This is definitely going to be a longer video. So yeah, grab yourself something to drink, or if you have something to do, you can just listen to it because I'm not going to be showing anything. And let's start. All right, so I have here my notes because otherwise this would end up being a total chaos. So the first thing that Kristen discussed was being exhausted because of the roller coaster YouTube puts her on. So Kristen does YouTube as a full-time job. So she is relying on the income from this platform, where I'm doing this as a hobby because I have a day job, plus this channel is super small, so it's not like I'm getting rich here. So it affects me a little bit differently, but it affects me basically the same way that it affects someone else, only the scope is a little bit smaller, so I really understand how she feels. So she talked about one of her videos on which she worked for about a month and it got demonetized, and she doesn't know why, no one tells her anything. So she compared YouTube to kind of an abusive boss who wants you to apply yourself, who wants you to perform as well as possible, and whenever you do something that's in their eyes wrong, they punish you, but they don't tell you what you did wrong, and they don't tell you what they actually want from you. And I think that was such an amazing comparison because that's how I sometimes feel too. It got really hard to grow on this platform, partially because there are so many creators, but partially because the algorithm changes a lot. And to me, it looks like there is a clear double standard because there are all these mainstream channels that can get away pretty much with anything, and then you have channels that we could call alternate channels, and you do a little thing and you get punished, and it's just not fair. So I totally understand her frustration. And one thing that frustrates me about the situation is also that sometimes when people hear that, they say, why don't you get a real job? But at the same time, it's the people who come regularly to enjoy the content. And I think it's really unfair towards the creators because, of course, they could get a different job, but why is this not a real job? Like, you do something regularly, you put in the effort, you actually invest a lot of money because the equipment is not necessarily cheap, and you work for hours and hours and hours. And believe me, sometimes people who really put up regular content, they probably work more hours than the regular person. I know from myself, when I'm editing DIY videos for my DIY channel, that takes a lot of time, even though the videos end up being very short. And I think that anyone who puts in the effort should be compensated from that. And it's not like the viewers pay the person, it's the platform. And I think we deserve that. I mean, obviously, I'm biased because I'm a YouTuber myself, but I don't see a reason why I should not get compensated for my efforts when I'm actually doing something that people enjoy or find helpful. And in Kristen's case, is she's speaking very loudly up against especially the fashion industry and meat and dairy industry. So it's only understandable that it would be in the interest of certain forces to silence her. And it's just so frustrating because what happened to the freedom of speech, right? Now, the reason why Kristen mentioned being so exhausted because of YouTube was because she felt like it affected her overall mood and thinking. And she mentioned that one day she was scrolling through her Instagram feed, and that particular day there were way more butts in the feed than usual. So if you have Instagram, you know what she's talking about. Numerous pictures of gorgeous women posing with their butt cheeks, towards the camera, and usually it's being kind of connected to empowering each other, and she was not being critical at all about that. She said that in her opinion, we should be able to post whatever photos of our bodies, and we should never feel bad about it. And I 100% agree. I feel like the female body has been demonized for so many years, decades, hundreds of years, and it needs to stop, because the perfect example is the nipple. We all have nipples, but God forbid you show the female nipple, then it's a drama. But it's okay for men to be topless and no one cares about the nipple. So there is such double standard about female and male bodies, and Kristen's point was not to criticize these women for posting the photos of their butts, not at all. Her point was only questioning whether this is really empowering us as women in this man-ruled world. And again, she was not saying that as being hateful towards men in general, but towards the men on the top who are rich and who are exploiting others. So basically, Kristen was questioning whether us women being proud of our female bodies, no matter what we look like, because we are all beautiful, whether posting pictures of our bodies is actually damaging us, because all these rich white assholes on the top are not gonna take us seriously then. And as much as I hate to admit it, I think I agree, because we live in a really twisted world where we have huge double standards. Now, all these super rich billionaires, and millionaires, these rich people, they pose as super conservative, but at the end of the day, those are the people that usually have the biggest skeletons in their closets. Think of certain politician who had an affair with a certain assistant, or what was she? You know what I'm talking about. It's just awful out there. And as a woman, we are being exploited so much. Look at the film industry, look at the model industry. Models have to look like underage boys in order to make it to the runway. And once they start developing somewhat female features, they are not good enough. They have to starve themselves. They have to use fillers because their lips are not big enough. They have to use I don't know what in order to fit into the idea of beauty that constantly changes, because that's the best way how to control us, how to keep us in line. And Kristen pointed also out that it's kind of sad when you look through Instagram and other social media how materialistic some women are and how obsessed we became with our bodies, with our looks. But I think it's really hard not to, because we have been conditioned since we were small to look good. And that's also something Kristen pointed out, because she said the way she was raised, she was always told to be quiet, to not be a burden for others, and to not speak up her mind. And that needs to change, because otherwise the world we live in will not get better, and we will still have to question whether it's a good idea to post a photo of our butt or not. So Kristen also talked about a solution for all of this. So her idea was to infiltrate the controlling section of our society and to change it from within. I think this is in general a really good idea, however, might be potentially problematic for some people, because sometimes when you are a part of something for a long time, it will change you despite your strongest efforts to stay who you are. So sometimes people would start with the best intentions, but they would end up basically swimming with the flow. And then she also had an idea about basically creating an artificial intelligence being created by some anarchist programmers that would more organize us instead of being in charge. A problem that comes with that would be that it's still people who would make some rules, and who's going to control them. So there will always be someone in charge. And I think that's the general problem with us humans, because no matter how hard we try, there's usually someone on the top, and it always depends on the person how things will develop. So I don't actually have a clear answer to this. I think these are both very interesting ideas, and we can discuss it further in the comments. I think there is one thing we can all do as individuals, and that is not to follow trends blindly. No matter if it's a beauty trend or a fashion trend or whatever other trend, we should be strong enough to say no, thank you. The power of no should never be underestimated. So I honestly don't want any rich asshole magazine owner to tell me what am I supposed to wear this season because some company sent them samples to photograph and gave them a bunch of money. I want to decide for myself what I feel comfortable in. I don't want to be in a position where I have to wear makeup or a certain type of makeup just because someone thinks this is trendy and what you have is not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, we should really start freeing ourselves from all this superficial part of our life that has been created over the years. And it's really hard because we've been conditioned since we were little girls. We have to look pretty. We have to look good for our men because otherwise no one's gonna marry us, right? And it's really hard to break free from that, but we have to do that because otherwise we're gonna end up being just puppets. Someone's gonna tell you, well, you can't wear that anymore because this is not trendy. And so what? We're gonna throw the stuff we have away and run in the store and spend a bunch of money so that we have for the next 3 weeks something trendy until it becomes untrendy, right? So this is something we can all do. And we should also use our voice way more. We should really call out all of these companies and institutions on their bullshit. We should not let companies that use animal testing have the vegan logo. We should make it very clear that that is something we want to change. We should not let companies call their collection conscious while we know that they are using basically human slaves for the production of their clothes. On the other hand, it is really, really hard to do that sometimes because of all the algorithms today and the possibilities to mute us, which brings us to the beginning of today's video. So really, if you're someone who's mainstream and who's blindly following trends and just frolicking around and showing their butt, everyone's gonna love you from like all the platform, top classes, whatever, like the people who control that and who decide what should be shown or not. When you say something that is maybe a little bit too controversial, it's very likely you're gonna be muted or you kind of fall through the algorithm, and that's really, really frustrating. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try, and that's why I'm here today. I will probably reach like 10 people, but I'm happy for every single one of us. So these were my thoughts on this. So just to sum it up, I think us females should be really proud of our bodies no matter what we look like, and we should never ever let anyone else tell us what we are supposed to look like and who we are supposed to be, as long as we are healthy and as long as we are not damaging ourselves. And even the people who are either underweight or overweight, I feel for you girls, because there is something you're struggling with, and I love you no matter what you look like, and no one should ever point fingers at you, and no one should ever tell you you're not good enough or not pretty enough. Every single one of you is beautiful, and I love you all the way you are. And we should not let all these multinational companies and some rich assholes tell us what our lips should look like, our tits, our butts, and what we should wear. We should really free ourselves from that and be just the way we are. I mean, if you like makeup, wear it, but wear the makeup you want and not the makeup someone thinks you should wear. If you like fashion, play with fashion. I like it too, but don't let anyone tell you that you need to throw away everything you have in your closet and purchase like new clothes for hundreds of euros just because they feel like you're not trendy enough. So that's more my point. And I think that is something that would make us a little bit more powerful, while we still get to post pictures of our butt and our tits and some other body parts. So these were just some random thoughts. I highly recommend watching Kristen's video. It was really an interesting discussion, and I hope that all the stuff that I said kind of made sense and that you guys enjoyed it, and you can let me know your thoughts on that. in the comments. I'm very happy to meet you there. So that's gonna be it for today. So thank you all so much for watching. Be yourself. You are perfect the way you are. I love you the way you are. And thank you all so much for being here with me, to listening to my babbling, and see you soon. Bye.